This is Bogdan with SourceMatch, and thank you for joining us in this virtual roundtable discussion around the subject of recruitment, how it's changing, and what it means for you, whether you're a business owner, a manager who's hiring, a recruiter, or a candidate. Joining us are 5 guests from very diverse backgrounds and industries. To begin with, Dr. Randy Wilt. He's a professional academician and lecturer at the McCombs School of Business at University of Texas, as well as the chairman of Bell's International, a marketing products company. Devin Peters is also joining us. She's an experienced HR business partner at Safeguard Global, who's managing HR operation throughout North America and globally, working closely with Safeguard's Global Employment Outsourcing Unit. Then Gasper Paul, he's the Vice President of Operations with Team Quality Services, having more than 25 years of experience in the automotive and energy sectors. Randy Miller, a senior chair and business coach with Vistage International, and prior to that, he's been an executive in the staffing industry for 20 years and a U.S. Air Force Squadron Commander. Gabriel Wilkinson is joining us as well from the SourceMatch team. He's a recruitment operations manager, and he has more than 10 years of international recruitment experience. Welcome to our guests, and we will dive right in with each and every question.
I think technology has many ways captured too much of the recruiting process. Between wonderful sites like Indeed and Glassdoor and Monster and all these different ones out there, they do a great job, but it's become very, very competitive. And I know that they're doing things like they're doing assessment tests to try to make sure they get the right person to you. I was looking at one just the other day, and I thought it was a very interesting test. It was the application. It was not a test. And this is a company who actually, they didn't use Indeed or Glassdoor. They use a different recruiting tool. And one of the 2 questions they asked was, if you spend $1.10 and the banana was $1 more than the apple, how much was the apple? And then it gave you 30 seconds to answer. And I even sat there and had to ponder about that because I haven't dealt with something like that in a long time. So I think what I'm seeing here is that technology is trying to narrow down through the funnel to get down to those really qualified people. Now, the good side about that is that it gets out what I said a moment back about, it gets out the people who are not qualified. The problem with it is that because it works on those algorithms and works on, how we're trying to narrow it down, I think sometimes it throws out people who actually were going to be a very good candidate for you just because it didn't meet certain answers in there. I've got to be honest with you, when I saw that, I answered it wrong myself, and I thought, great, I wouldn't even hire myself then because I didn't get the question right. So I think this is the issue with technology here as it is growing, and they're having to find more ways to help people to find those jobs and helping the employers to find the right people. I think they're having to find more creative ways to sift through them. And I think some of that sifting actually can be to the detriment of the prospective employee and sometimes to the employer too.
So the pandemic has impacted the candidate experience as businesses have shifted to fully virtual interviews. So this has both positive and negative effects. I've noticed that candidates feel more at ease with live video interviews as opposed to some of the non-live versions of video interviews that some companies use. On the other hand, I think that video interviewing can kind of take away from the nonverbal cues that are so often utilized in interviews to provide a good experience. So both from the candidate perspective as well as the hiring manager or recruiter's perspective, right? Candidates feed off of the energy we provide as recruiters. So there is a little bit of disconnect there. And I think recruiters are having to adjust the way recruiters and hiring managers, I should say, are adjusting the way that they approach recruiting in order to better provide an experience that's a positive one. And it's just new territory for everyone. So that's been a shift. I think that the technology enables us and gets in our way. So, when the technology fails, there needs to be additional ways for candidates to reach out to recruiters or HR so that they feel well supported through the process, right? Again, candidate experience is key, and making sure that you have backups for when your technology fails is absolutely important, especially during this pandemic.
Where we are at this point in our business, it's absolutely essential for us to progress at a local or a national level. It's very critical and it's timely, so that helps us, and it's a huge advantage. And then also it helps tremendously with the effectiveness and the efficiency.
There is now AI that's available that you can do a much quicker evaluation of resumes and therefore the talent that's available to you so that you can weed out candidates who may not have the technology, the capability, the background, the knowledge, you name it. And now technology allows you to scan those resumes, those applications much more efficiently, determine who do you really want to spend time looking at that have the talents that you think you are looking for. I think it does have a risk that you may weed out a very strong candidate that doesn't have a particular item or a multitude of items on the resume, but you really aren't sure what you're looking for. I found that many times clients aren't as sophisticated on the front end, knowing exactly the skills and background and so forth they need. And what I found in the staffing industry, we would often give a resume based on the skills the client said they wanted, and then the client would come back and goes, I never thought about X, and I see this guy that has X, whatever that happens to be, and now I realize that is a very important part of what I'm looking for this individual to do. You would never find that on these new sophisticated searches, so just got to be a little careful on what you're looking for and how you use technology, but it does save a lot of time compared to the old way we used to do it.
I think the main role of technology is to help recruiters find the right people quicker and easier. And that includes the search tools and resources that we're using these days. That's the number one kind of day-to-day use. We do that every day, day in, day out. We need to have that movement. Another benefit is that we can make more informed decisions or more well-informed decisions with improved assessment tools so that we can see even more clearly if a candidate's skills match up with the job description and especially those requirements that are not on the job description. And then finally, technology helps us connect in more ways and in better ways. I mean, so many of us have seen it through the year with meetings online. It's become a very digital connection if you're talking about face-to-face. And then, of course, social networking platforms and so many other ways to connect to active and passive job seekers and also to actively and passively connect. You never know when someone's going to just look at their social media and say, oh, wow, look, there's a position I hadn't been considering. Maybe I need to think about that. It might be the right time. So just a lot of different ways to connect now. Technology's been our friend in that sense.